I mean, who has time to make visually pleasing breakfast now? Like, just bitch, eat some toast. Hi, welcome to How, the show about my life where absolutely nothing happens. Now, I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do for this video today. I thought I would make a video that was like, day in my life as a 9-to-5 corporate millennial, working from home, try and keep up with all these really cool trendy videos that I've been seeing a lot of, both across YouTube and on TikTok. We'll get to TikTok very soon. You know, these videos of people who would like wake up at 5 a.m. while the sun's kind of rising. They'll meditate, they'll do yoga, they'll water their plants, they'll make them breakfast that's like ridiculously aesthetically pleasing for that early in the morning. But yeah, they would wake up really early, have their breakfast bowls, go for a run, and then they would have a little cheeky dip in the Yarra River before they start their working day. If you're not from Australia and you're wondering what the Yarra River is, this is what it looks like. It is not to be trifled with. I feel like as a society, we need to take a stronger stance at condemning people who swim in the Yarra River. Not on my watch. And I was thinking about trying to make a video like that as well, then I just thought, I can't, like, it's not me. And don't get me wrong, I can make my life look visually pleasing. That's not the issue. The issue is more around this kind of societal acceptance we have of prioritizing productivity, prioritizing self-care in a way that's actually kind of destructive. And also in any way suggesting that your entire life can kind of be fixed or resolved by simply waking up at 5 a.m. and going for your little bit of a run. Let me tell ya, working in corporate, stress does not go away that easily. I have tried. And you know what? Yeah, life is pretty anesthetic when you're a teenager because you have very few problems in the world that couldn't be solved if you just went to apologize to that bitch you were cyberbullying for being a Taylor Swift fan. Yeah, that's right, I'm not okay. But kids, let me tell ya, life is only pretty for so long. And what I'm about to say next was really epitomized by Olivia Rodrigo when she said something in one of her songs. She says something along the lines of, if someone tells me to enjoy my youth, I'm gonna scream. Stream sour besties. It's a hit. Because if you're one of those people that are like between 16 and 23 and are like, oh my God, my life sucks. I can't wait to get older and do all these things that I want to do. Let me tell you, you need to start enjoying the bits that you can because honey, you get a big storm coming.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
So I wanted to just make this video because I was thinking a lot about these day in the life videos and I thought, I don't want to make one of those ones that are like aesthetically pleasing because I don't want to lie on this channel. Instead, I just wanted to have a quick, one-on-one conversation between besties. And instead, I want to delve into this idea of the big aesthetic lie, right? People who post these very aspirational versions of themselves online and then expect us to believe that that's who they are, or even just strive to that level of kind of productivity when it comes to morning routines or just daily routines or whatever it might be, right? The big lie in this is the fact that their lifestyle is attainable, which it's not. It's very unrealistic. And the only reason they can perpetrate that is because they've got these big backings behind them, whether it's a large social media following or sponsorships, or generally just have quite a lot of money coming in that they don't need to do the same kind of level of menial labor or work or corporate work as most of their viewers are probably doing, right? So, in these morning routines, people love to boast that they wake up at 5 a.m. That's the whole big trend right now, right? Waking up at 5 a.m. They go for their run, they meditate, they do their yoga, whatever. And as viewers, we know it's bullshit, right? Like you and I, we're smarter than that. We know what we're watching when it comes to these kinds of aspirational goals. Yet for some reason, we watch them and still think that that's what we should be striving for. But the problem is that's not the solution. You can't just suddenly change our routine and feel better about ourselves. And it's always around starting your day really early at 5 a.m. I'm sure in a few years it's going to be waking up at 2 a.m. But the fact of the matter is they want you to wake up at 5 a.m. so you can get all these things done before you start your actual job at 9 a.m. I usually start work at 8 or 8:30, so I have even less time to get all this stuff done. And I think I've spoken a lot about this on my channel around, hustle culture and millennial culture and corporate culture, that we feel like we need to put productivity above everything else. Like that's our level of achievement. If we are productive, we are successful. And if you've watched my other videos, you know that I don't believe that. And I don't think we should put productivity above a lot of the other things that we should measure our success on, right? What's so inspiring about waking up at 5 a.m.? What's so inspiring about breaking your back for work? What's so inspiring about doing all these things to tick some boxes so you can be that girl? More on that later. One of the things that I've really loved lately are these TikTok videos where people do like a fake influencer post and then they show the behind the scenes of how it really is.
Hey guys, I just finished my second workout of the day and now I'm about to eat my chicken and avocado salad. Yum.
People seem really fun and engaging and inspiring when they're on camera, but as soon as the cameras are off, they're just like dead silent. Like as soon as I turn this camera off, it's going to be silent in my apartment. Do you know how awkward that is? This is what it's going to be like. Isn't that awkward? And I don't say this to make fun of the people who make these videos, but out of like genuine sympathy, right? Because YouTube is a business, TikTok, Instagram, all these other social media platforms, they can be businesses. People make a lot of money on YouTube, but their career and their reputation really rely on YouTube and like the overall algorithm and the overall kind of perception of whether they're in the cultural zeitgeist for that moment. The thing is, they need to be inspiring because aspiration is one of the driving motivations behind loyalty, right? If we want to be like someone, we're more likely to follow that person because we want to know what they're doing so we can emulate those good qualities that we want to see in ourselves. We tend to follow people who we want to look like, who we want to act like, who we want to be like, who we want to dress like, all these different things, right? It's all very aspirational. We become so ingrained in people's definition of like a perfect morning routine that we kind of forget ourselves and we forget to really think, how is this benefiting me? The problem is, when you work a 9 to 5, you have very little time to introduce all these new little routines into your life because let me tell you, when you're working 9 to 5, you have very little time to do anything else. So there is a bit of a, socially acceptable kind of way of doing these sorts of things. The next thing I want to talk about is TikTok. So I think TikTok is fueling that girl syndrome. And when I refer to that girl syndrome, I'm talking about this recent trend on TikTok that's been really blowing up lately, where essentially very young girls are posting their aesthetically pleasing morning routines in very fast, sharp fashion. It's quick shots of people waking up at 5 a.m., going to yoga, running, swimming, having an acai bowl, having their little kale salads, iced coffee. Oh my God, there's so many iced coffees in these videos. I can't even count. There's also so many different types of iced coffee now. Like I like coffee. I feel like I really know coffee, but these teenage girls on TikTok are just taking coffee to a whole other level. I can't keep up. I really wish I could, but I can't. So these that girl videos are really all about self-fulfillment. They're about reaching your goals. They're about creating aspirational routines for yourself, that sort of thing. Essentially just turning your life into a Pinterest board, right? It's nothing new. YouTube has been doing this for the past decade. Instagram has been doing it to a lesser extent, but with photos. The difference between those and what's happening now on TikTok is that TikTok is marketed towards very, very young girls, between the ages of 13 and 23. Those are very formative years of your life. Like I think back to when I was 13, and let me tell you, my life was not aesthetically pleasing at all. So the problem with TikTok is that it's now marketing these kind of unrealistic expectations towards very young girls. The other issue with TikTok is it has such mass reach that so many people will be seeing these videos, whereas in YouTube, you have to really search for it. Whereas a For You page on TikTok is literally this algorithmically built kind of perfection of content directly for you and only for you. It's crazy to think about that, how specific these kinds of videos are to the person watching them. Which is funny because whenever I talk about how much I love TikTok, I usually give my phone to my friend and be like, look how great TikTok is, you should get on it. And they'll scroll through my For You page and be like, this isn't funny. None of this is funny at all. And I'd be like, girl, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. The other really big issue around TikTok's that girl trend is the fact that it's really just the Trojan horse for very big companies to push their sponsored content. To become like that girl, you need to have like a really good morning routine. You need to have an exercising regime that works really well. You need to wake up really early. You need to have really healthy and sustainable and organic food that is grown by like a local farmer that costs $200 for a single apple. And all that's kind of well and good because it's very much within like the realm of what you need to survive. But then the other side of that is the products come in where, all these videos feature beautiful plants, beautiful LED lights all around their room, only luxury workout clothes, a really expensive coffee machine, only drink oat milk because it's the only one that's sustainable. It's kind of unhealthy to think to be, that trendy girl, you need to have all these different things and be able to afford a certain lifestyle. And again, it kind of comes back to this idea that we're watching these people's daily lives, but it's really just sponsored content by big corporations who are trying to push a certain lifestyle on people so that they can continue to sell those products to suit that lifestyle. And then the algorithm kind of picks that content up and spews it to people who they know are either depressed, down on their luck, not feeling great. This kind of content is pushed to you when you're at your lowest, just so that you feel like you need to change your entire life, hit these aspirational goals, make these aspirational purchases, and then you'll be out of your rut. That if you're depressed, or if you're struggling at work, or if that you hate capitalism, all you need to become is that girl, and suddenly your life would be better. Because look, spoiler alert, if you were depressed before, you're going to be depressed after. Sorry, got it from experience. Okay, so the last point I want to make, because I really do have to go very soon, is culture is shifting, and people want to see more real, authentic content online. I genuinely think we've hit a breaking point when it comes to influencer culture. I truly think that we are starting to see changes for the better. The writing's been on the wall for a few years, but I think the era of influencer culture is definitely over. We're seeing a lot more micro-influencers who are more in tune with their community rather than people who are selling products. People are less trusting of influencers as well because we're starting to peel back the reality of their world now that so many people are involved in making content, whether it's through YouTube, whether it's through TikTok, whether it's through more Instagram posts. We all know what it's like to make content. And I think now we start to understand what influencers do to get to their point. And a lot of us have just kind of lost respect for that. So I have a perfect example of this whole kind of distrusted influencer culture, right? There's this Instagram influencer named... oh shit, I don't know her name. Yeah, let me just Google this. Okay, it's @Ari. She has over 2 million followers on Instagram, and she decided that the next best step for her, logically, would be to start her own clothing label. I think clothing label is a strong word for what she's trying to do. I think it's more of a grift. It's a merch grift. Like, she tried to capitalize on her name, tried to sell some merch, blah. So she created her own clothing label and essentially just tried to sell these like really uninspired sweatshirts. You know, they had like nothing really on there and they were kind of a mess. Like, they didn't really fit the aesthetic of what her Instagram page was. They didn't look like something that she would wear. They weren't really anything that were special or unique or personal to her. So essentially she tried to peddle this crap to her followers. So she needed to sell 36 units of each of the 7 products that she had. So in total, it was 252 units. Now, 252 sales sounds like a lot when you're just starting a clothing label, right? That's fair. But this woman has over 2 million followers on Instagram, right? 2 million followers on Instagram. And she just needed to sell 252 units. That's like 0.0000001% of her following. Surely she could do that. Surely anyone at that level could do that. She couldn't. She couldn't get the sales she needed despite her following. She couldn't get the sales that she needed to continue the label. I think the company that was like creating the product for her said, unless you sell X amount, we're not going to follow through and we won't fulfill the order. So her clothing label was literally dead on arrival. No one was buying it. Nobody wanted it. Nobody engaged with it. Like, I feel bad for her. I really do. I don't know how much effort she put into it. I don't know what like kind of involvement she had in it. But just on face value, on like the product that she launched and her general kind of visual vibe and personal style, even garbage. Like, I'm sorry. There's been a lot of conversations among like influencers and designers and industry experts and journalists around why this like too big to fail Instagram has still managed to fail. The main reason is the clothing was just horse shit, right? Number 2, the reality really was that a lot of straight men were following her Instagram page because she is a good-looking woman who's half naked in a lot of photos, so no surprise there. And the third reason why it failed is I think people were starting to see very quickly that her entire brand was entirely based on a lie. The clothing just looked like nothing she'd ever worn before. It looked nothing like something that her audience would want to wear either, because they just weren't interested in like, you know, cheaply made logo-based sweatshirts. And, you know, I think she underestimated the fact that her audience could really see through exactly what she was trying to pull. And people noticed that, and they wouldn't let it go. So with more and more people kind of noticing the fact that a lot of these influencers are living very fake lives and peddling a certain lifestyle on people that they know is unattainable, they know is destructive, they know is unhealthy, that bubble is going to burst. And because the influencer bubble is bursting, I think people are starting to crave a lot more genuine and authentic content online. You know, content from real people who are talking about real issues. You know, with the global Pandora, nobody cares about influencer lifestyles anymore. Nobody cares about those travel vloggers anymore, because the world has much bigger issues than what size dress you should be wearing, or what time in the morning you should be waking up, or what kind of swimsuit you should be wearing to the beach when you take all your holiday pics. Like, no one cares anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry at all. You know, there's so many bigger problems. We all have far more mental health problems than we did a year ago, so nobody really cares about this sort of stuff anymore. And I think people are just done with that era of social media culture where people just like valued and worshipped influencers for doing the bare minimum. And I think a key point of this video is the fact that now we know that authenticity is the key to longevity. So to close it all off, I want to know your thoughts. How do you kind of feel when you watch these videos where people have the perfect morning routines before their 9 to 5 or before their college days or before going to uni, whatever it might be? You know, these people who wake up at like 5 a.m. and swim in dirty river water before they, you know, start their 9 to 5 jobs. So I'm curious to know how you feel when you watch these videos of people pretending to have the most perfect lives when, you know, if you peel back even a single layer or two, you start to unravel. I really just wanted to get this rant out. I really just wanted to scream into my phone microphone for a little bit. So I'm glad I got to do that. But yes, if you did like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. If you got something to say, leave a comment. Keen to know your thoughts. I respond to every single comment, as you probably know, because I have nothing better to do in my spare time. And yeah, join the fam by hitting that subscribe button. Would love to have more people on board. So that's all I had to say for now. I will see you next week for another video. And until then, bye.